Hey friends, today's video is going to be what happens after an OCD spiral, after you've come out of the spiral. And I just want to make this note here real quick that I'm learning something very valuable, and it's this. Being raised in with a Pentecostal background, I used to be very obsessed about spiritual things to the point that everything was spiritual. And what this has taught me and the Lord has shown me is that we live in a natural world. Okay? Everything may have a spiritual undertone, but everything is not strictly spiritual. I saw someone today post something I probably would have vehemently agreed with. And I'm trying to remember exactly what it said, but it said something like, addiction is proof that you have a false god. That's basically what it said. And it's like one of them punch phrases. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I disagreed. I commented on it and I was like, you are way oversimplifying addiction. Someone, of course, rebutted. No, addiction proves that you can be disciplined or you can be dedicated. I was like, no, it doesn't. Because addiction is way more than just a decision. This is why addiction is less like dedication and more like slavery, in the sense that when someone becomes addicted to substances, whether it be nicotine, sugar, alcohol, drugs, there's things that go on inside your brain that literally cause your body, your physical body, to become dependent on these things. And this is why it is so hard to quit, because it's much more than willpower. To overcome these things is actually more than willpower. I actually got a twinge of like, you're saying something wrong just now. Like just now I did. Because that mindset is still there in the background, lurking. That I'm excusing something. This is not true. And what the Lord is teaching me is that in order to truly help someone out of a situation that they're in, you must understand the actual problem. Because if you misdiagnose the problem, you can't fix it. And so misdiagnosis is a problem. And if we're constantly looking to extremes, we will err every time. Balance is key. So my video today is saying, what does it look like after an OCD spiral? So I just came out of a little bit of a spiral. The last several days, not several days, but Friday was a really bad day. Saturday was a bad day. It was better than Friday though, because I had my prayer warriors praying for me, and they did. And Saturday was phenomenally better than Friday, but there was still this underlying issue. And so what happens when you get out of a spiral is your brain is on the fritz because it's been overstimulated. And so for the next several days, or depending on how long your spiral is, you may feel very emotionally flat, disconnected, easily irritable, and a lot of other things. And if you don't expect that, then you may actually go back into another OCD spiral, because OCD tends to judge your feelings or the lack thereof and misdiagnose it and think, oh, I'm becoming a reprobate. And I used to do this. And now I look at OCD and I'm like, man, this is a problem. And the thing of it is in your brain, because it's so hyper spiritual, then you maybe listen to me or someone that says something like what I'm saying, and it sounds like well, you're just excusing something. You're just excusing this. You're just this. No, you're not. This is me honoring God as the creator of my body and understanding that I am a natural person with a brain. And our brains are organs just like your kidneys, your lungs, your liver, all those things. Your brain can misfire. I am not saying that every mental health issue is not spiritual. Some possibly are. But this is why you have to step back. This is discernment. Jesus knew whether someone needed to be healed of an infirmity or if they needed to be delivered from a spirit. Some people were healed, some people were delivered, but Jesus knew the difference. And so if we want to be like Jesus, we must, and really want to help people, we have to step back and begin to realize things are more complex than we like them to be. And that every situation demands a different answer. With OCD, though, I've seen it be a mixture of different things. Majority of the time, everyone I've talked to, minus one person I could think of, had a past of childhood trauma. And also, we begin to relate to God via the law. So sometimes it's like, because of childhood trauma, your brain in the fight or flight system is off. And so, but the answer to that, and even the person I believe I had a tendency towards OCD because I have ADHD and I tend to be obsessive. But my point is this. I believe that there is a move towards an understanding of mental health. It needs to be in the church, because what happens is when it's like the word of faith doctrine. If you're sick, it's your fault. You don't have enough faith. Well, we know that's not true, but then a more subtle lie is everything is spiritual. And then we wrestle with this guilt. Like, it's still this low key, well, you don't have enough faith. Your faith is the problem. And it's not. But the irony here is that the truth of God, the truth of the Word, can actually still bring healing to that OCD mind, no matter what the situation is. And sometimes in combination with medication. Sometimes you may need to be on medication the rest of your life, and sometimes you may need it long enough to just have your mind settle down long enough so that you can learn the coping mechanisms. I currently am actively stepping down on my medication because I've been on it since last July, August. And I feel like I've learned a lot. I've learned how to deal with it. And so now for me, it's become an unconscious, I deal with OCD almost unconsciously. My brain is now programmed because the Lord made our brains programmable. He made them to be able to be rewired, which is a blessing, because for people that grew up in traumatic situations, our brain can be reprogrammed. Thank God. And we can use the Word to do that. And so, I forgot where I was going with that. There goes my ADHD. Woo. Anyway. So again, if you're struggling with flatness, if you're struggling with like disconnectedness, if you're struggling with not caring, like right now I'm in that mode of like, I don't care. But I now can recognize that is just my brain. And so I don't own it. I don't feel guilty about it. I just recognize my brain needs time to cool off. And so I give my brain what it needs. I don't listen to videos. I don't listen to music. I don't argue with anybody. I don't, like, if I've been helping somebody, I may have to take a step back because I don't have the capacity at the moment. And I don't wrestle with guilt over that. I don't have guilt over that. I just honor my body by giving it what it needs, my brain by giving it what it needs. Just like if I was a diabetic and my blood sugar was out of whack, I would treat that. As in clean up, okay, I'm going to clean up my diet. I'm going to cut back on sugars. I'm going to cut back on sodas. I'm going to cut back on carbs, whatever. I'm going to honor my body and give it what it needs. This is not less, it's not less spiritual. It's still honoring God in the fact that we live in a fallen world, but we live in fleshly bodies. He designed us magnificently to operate. It's amazing. I don't know if you ever thought about the fact. It is amazing that you have coherent thoughts. That we can communicate with one another. That we know, like babies can come out of the womb, learn languages. Like that is so intentional. And it actually helps me to even appreciate the work of the Lord and the work of God, the Creator, our Father, even greater. Yes, there's a spiritual side to that, but it, again, like, I mean, I used to over-spiritualize everything. And part of what He's brought me through over the last few years is like stripping out a lot of the extremist things that weren't allowing me to see other things clearly, like this. Now, do I believe that there is a spiritual component to this? Absolutely. Do I think the enemy capitalizes on it? Absolutely. Takes full advantage of it. Absolutely. But that doesn't, it's not meant to freak you out, okay? God cares about you. God cares about your basic needs. Like, God doesn't just care about your soul, and that's it. Like, He cares for your whole being. And that's why He created relationships. Family, marriages, it's because they're gifts that He's given to us to enjoy. So if you've come out of a spiral and then you start feeling, don't let the lack of feelings or the feeling of burnout or the feelings like I don't care cause you to go back into a spiral, because that's what it used to do for me. And just know that as you learn to deal with OCD, like, it will become second nature. And every day you're learning to walk with Jesus and be led by Jesus. And right now, like, I'm dealing with thoughts right now, and I'm just like, whatever, okay. I just know it makes me really sympathetic towards an entire group of people that I probably would not be sympathetic towards. People who struggle with mental health issues that really need help, and they don't need someone coming in and telling them, you're not trying hard enough, you're the problem, it's because you're this, it's because you're that. Like, they don't need that. They need compassion, and they need someone who's going to reach down into the pit and pull them out That's what it looks like to be like Jesus. Is to meet someone at the point of their need. Are they hungry? Feed them. Do they need clothes? Clothe them. Do they need someone who has compassion and can lead them out of the darkness that they're in? Do that. That's what it looks like to be the hands and feet of Jesus. Like, I grew up believing I was called to ministry, and I just couldn't put my finger on what it was. And now I know why, because my view of ministry was very narrow-minded in the church as a pastor or a teacher. And I couldn't see what he called me to do, because this is not what I would have expected it to look like, because I'm not in a church. But that's another place I've grown. We're not meant to just stay inside the four walls of the church. God loves people, and he wants to meet their need and to show the love of Jesus. And this is what it looks like. It's not always flashy. It's meeting someone at the point of their need. Simple. Seeing people as image bearers of God, no matter where they find themselves. Knowing that I was pulled out of the muck and the mire. I love y'all. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Be blessed.